South Melbourne has lost just one game in their past 8 outings. No changes to the 11 which beat Brisbane last week. This is an experienced team with just 2 of the first 11 having played less than 100 games in the Coca-Cola Soccer League. Sydney Olympic have 2 new faces today. New Zealand international Clint Gosling is back from suspension, and number 7 Elias Aviedinos returns from injury. Sydney's Barcelona striking duo of Seal and Aaron Basic are together for just the 2nd time this season. And Aaron Basic is in dynamic form. He scored his 3rd goal in just 4 games so far. Again, South Melbourne has lost just 1 game in their past 8 outings. No changes to the 11 which started last week's game against Brisbane. Again, this is an experienced side with just 2 of the first 11 having played less than 100 games in the Coca-Cola Soccer League. And one of those players is 22-year-old goalkeeper Dean Anastasiadis, who's making his 5th successive appearance. He's playing so well, he's kept Bruce McLaren in the youth team. So Tom McCrow gets us underway for the second half here at Olympic Park. South Melbourne, who started so positively, they should have had a couple of goals in the first 10 minutes. But they face the scoreline which reads Sydney Olympic 1, South Melbourne 0. Olympic with 2 changes to the team which beat Sydney CSC, and again the weather there causing some real concern for David Healy, who is down for the count on this sideline closest to us, and he hasn't moved. As you'll see, they'll have to stop play there surely. Well, the referee allowing play to continue. Trimboli doing the smart thing, just clearing it away. And the weather, which didn't even show any signs of rain hitting us here at Olympic Park in the earlier game. Preston defeating Brisbane 5-1. There was really no signs of what was to come here. And we'll just have a look here. The ball holding up. Healy committed to the clearance. Seal came in, and obviously connection there. And Healy is receiving treatment. The coach, Jim Bergolios, just checking on his young charge. And good sportsmanship there from Olympic, giving the ball straight back to Wade, who's playing sweeper with Levitt Jurakovic suspended the 2nd week. An interesting change there. Seal trying to get it on to Aaron Basic. As you can see how tough it is for the boys out there. Hasler, who's come on. Lightning starting, and now Milosevic, and well taken by Dean Anastasiadis in trying conditions here. Peterson clearing it away, but Aviedinos is there. And you'll see the replay. Anastasiadis well positioned. Again Milosevic. Seal trying to get it on for Aaron Basic. And Gary Hasler. He has come on during the break, and I'll just check quickly to see which player has come off. It could be Talakis, because he copped a bit of a knock. And indeed, it looks like Hasler has come on for Peter Talakis. Hasler can't get in there ahead of Phillips. And the good news really for South Melbourne is that Healy is ready to come back on. Phillips. And he's skewing it. And we'll see much more of that today. Most experienced player in this Sydney Olympic lineup. There's Anastasiadis. Big clearance. Bernal getting there ahead of Loratifi, and that's been a pretty interesting duel. Very physical one. Now Tassios, who's been in great form of late. Phillips intercepts that intended pass to Lucianus. And it's really a lottery out there for both teams. Bernal getting in ahead of Hasler. And now Wright just straight back to Phillips, and again possession which will change, no doubt, quite a few times in the second half. Olympic are leading by 1-0. Aaron Basic scored that one in the 41st minute. Just in case you have tuned in, we're coming to you live from Olympic Park in Melbourne. the second of the doubleheader in round 12 of the Coca-Cola Soccer League. The earlier game, Preston defeating Brisbane United by 5-1. And in other results played so far, of course, Marconi last night defeating West Adelaide 6-2. Morwell victors at home by 3-1 against Heidelberg. And in the Sydney game, Parramatta defeating Adelaide City 3-1. Now, for South Melbourne, the way it stands at this stage, they have slipped to 4th. So, John, a very important match. I know all games, really, that we've had on Match of the Day are critical, particularly for Olympic. If they want to keep up with the pace setters, they're already sitting in 9th position on 14 points. Of course, South Melbourne haven't lost, well, they've only lost 1 game in 7. But Muscat will come on for Healy, and a very important day for both teams.
They're really going to come adrift.
As the free kick comes, Gosling came out, and luckily for him, he had some numbers back there. So already South Melbourne have made 2 changes. That second one is Muscat, the young Socceroo captain. He'll slot into right back, and Wade will stay at sweeper. And right, you've got to commend him for their work there. Now Waratifi, and just the control, letting him down. As Soros clears the ball away. Well, both of these teams have got pretty full squads in the Coca-Cola Soccer League. South Melbourne have got the likes of Jurakovic, Postacoglu, Harry Mikhael and McLaren on the sidelines today. The same thing for Olympic. No Cardozo, Cardoni, Catholis or Meyer. Clint Gosling took a pretty bad knock to the left hand in that first half. It'll be a real test for him, and there's the goal from the Waratifi. The equaliser for South Melbourne has come 6 minutes into this second half. But Johnny on the spot does it again. The Waratifi's 6th goal of the season. His 47th goal in the Coca-Cola Soccer League, and this is his 107th appearance. That's a superb strike rate by anyone's standards. That nudge had come on. The desperate clearance on the line. The Peterson corner. The nudge has come on from right, and a Waratifi there again. 1-1 is the score.
One wonders, Andy, how much this hand injury to Gosling has played its part there. That's not a very confident palm from him at all. And the problem for Olympic is if they're to replace him, they've got to put a field player in goal. So I sense there wasn't the Clint Gosling that we know going for that ball. Perhaps played its part, but apart from the slack marking of Wright at the first post, able to get the free header in to flick it back. But we're not going to see pretty football in the second half. It's going to be very much direct. They don't muck around at the back, get it down the other end as quickly as possible. Anyone who attempts to play in these conditions are going to have the passes cut out with the waterlogged field. And you tend to look, Andy, at players who've had experience in Europe, or New Zealand for that matter, and in England, who have had a lot of experience playing on wet fields, and of course Australian boys haven't. Mainly because as young boys, as soon as it rains, they tend to call our games off. So you'd look really the types like Ironsides or Aaron Bassix, who's had a lot of experience in Europe, Waratifi, those types of players who've played overseas should have a bigger influence in the second half than the others.
Now Trimboli. Threading it on for a Waratifi, that constant shadow of the Socceroo. Andrew Burnell was on his back. Milosevic playing it away. Peterson was committed, but falls favourably for Phillips, and his ball intended for Seal. Well wide of the striker, David Seal. And in most instances, I would think that maybe games like this would be considered to be postponed. Play continues. 8 minutes in the second half. South Melbourne 1, Sydney Olympic 1. Tassios gets there first. On the outer in round 5 and 6. Stamped his authority in this midfield of South Melbourne in recent weeks. It's going to take us away. Muscat. And There's Viridakos, but now George Soros. He can't find Aaron Basic. Half was blocked by Muscat. And the return pass, that will stay in. Nice control, good turn. And now Trimboli. The ball inside, Awaratifi. Gosling got up there and he got the right touch. And that could have been a second one for Francis Awaratifi. Now Danny Wright. Awaratifi again, looks up for Wright. He had to go for it first time. Danny Wright, real veteran of the Coca-Cola Soccer League. He's only 28, but he's played just on about 246 games. There'll be a change for Sydney Olympic. Elias Avietinos, the number 7, will be coming off. Grant Lee comes on. Avietinos goes off. Avietinos, who was injured last week, maybe feeling the effects of that injury. And they certainly got experience in Grant Lee.
And very versatile too, Andy. Looks as though he'll play, well, he obviously will play in Avietinos' position on the left side of the field. We've seen him operate mainly down the right side, either as a forward or in midfield for Olympic. One wonders Trimboli playing wide, whether they've put Lee on because he's probably a little bit more mobile than Avietinos as well. But he'll be able to control Trimboli a lot better. Trimboli, a key player for South Melbourne, very creative. Despite these conditions, still able to set up chances for South Melbourne.
Peterson looking for Awaratifi. Gosling's there again. It's a good clearance. Kept his cool at the back. Lucianus, an Ironside. Ball just holds up. Muscat away from Gary Phillips. This is their 29th meeting in the Coca-Cola Soccer League. South Melbourne have an outstanding record against Sydney Olympic. They've won 14 games and 8 games have ended in draws. In saying that, Olympic have won 5 of their last 8 games against South Melbourne. It's 1-1 at the moment. Hasler. The linesman signalled the foul by Gary Hasler. And the linesman on that far side, Dave, and it's signalled for the foul. Plenty of reinforcement in that goal area. For Olympic, it's a virtual lottery if that ball just falls loose for anyone.
Well, it's almost as if the coaches should say, forget playing football, Andy, just get it into the other box as quickly as possible and play it from there. In these conditions, anything is possible.
In comes the Phillips free kick. There was Wade. He was keeping close tabs on Milosevic. Stephen Tassios still with that great run. This is a lovely bit of work from Tassios. Now Hasler. Socceroo. Plays a beautiful ball to Butsianis. In it comes! And Trimboli just couldn't get on the end of it. South Melbourne has started the second half exactly the way they started the first. But this time they have the goal to show for it. Awaratifi's equaliser. Conditions really more suited to water polo. You've got to commend both teams. They really try to play as open as humanly possible. Peterson. Just a little cheeky dab on for Awaratifi. Bernal is there. It's been a pretty interesting duel today, Awaratifi and Bernal. Gosling. Left hand of his. Not sure which finger copped the knock, but we'll find out how bad that is as that second half Continues. Soros in there now, Burnell. Muscat. Trimboli. Such great control. I thought he copped a bit of a nudge in the back there. Yeah, that's what Trimboli's asking about. While it's tough for all the players and officials out there. And notice our cameramen have really worked hard as well. Not the best way to film a game, but it's just amazing, John. This is, I think, the 10th game out of 12 match of the days where inclement weather has really robbed us of something much better in terms of conditions for the players to play some open football. We've seen some great match of the days in saying that too, but
it's been wet, Andy, but it hasn't affected the game as much as this has. Olympic Park generally dries or absorbs the weather quite well, but it has been quite torrential. And the game drifting South Melbourne's way, they've adapted a little bit better to the conditions in Olympic at this stage of the second half.
And South Melbourne had trained here on Thursday in perfect weather as Gosling comes out to deny Butsianis. They trained here, it was nice and dry, the pitch was perfect, they were absolutely ecstatic about it. And, there's not that much to really be enthused about at this stage. Although they've shown some fighting qualities to come back into this game. 1-1 the score. Trimboli looking for a Waratifi. Giannis was there on the left, away by Spiridakos, straight to right. Now Waratifi again. Maybe the header would have been the best thing there. He was trying to get some control and line up the shot. But you'd have to put that down to another good chance really for South Melbourne.
It was, and the marking not good from Olympic at the back. You can't allow Waratifi that type of space. He will regret not finishing better. He should have, he knows it. But the space given to him really is something that Olympic can be right out of this game with slack marking like that.
Butsianis corner, away by Soros. Then he right lines her up, and Wade's offside. It won't stand at all. Some of the fans are up off their seats. The flag went up straight away. You can see Wade, the number 6. That's interesting to see that Paul Wade, who is playing sweeper today for the suspended Jurakovic. There he is again to cover for his team.
Well, it's a role which should suit him. I'm sure the amount of work that he does in midfield normally, and he'll be a very fresh boy tonight playing at the back. He's got the experience, Australian captain, the experience, the ability to communicate, the knowledge to know when to come forward, as we just saw him in a goal-scoring situation. It's a role which he has and should adopt to very, very easily.
Milosevic. Away by Hasler. Waratifi looks up at Giannis. He's thinking about it. He's gone to the right for Trimboli. That's not a bad ball at all. Soros and Trimboli. And Soros there again. He's having a pretty good game. He's had the job of picking up on Trimboli. And Trimboli kept it in, but went straight to Phillips. And Milosevic now, Aaron Basic. Again the ball holding up. Lions, the long one for Aaron Basic. And that just triples over that sideline. The new buy this season, Anastasiadis. Clearance, not a bad one at all. Waratifi trying to nudge it on for Butsianis, laid by Barrett. Tassos again looks for Waratifi. He's headed it down, but straight to Spiridakos. inside there. Wade across now for Butsianis. Hasler's come over to help him. Still Butsianis. The ball was out though on that far side. So just a reminder that right through this festive period, Match of the Day will continue on Sunday nights, and of course the replay on the Monday afternoon. The only change is that on the ball is in the 2-week recess. Now Trimboli, and there it is, it'll trickle over. Paul Trimboli does it once again. You give him 1 ounce of room and he will punish you. Trimboli's 53rd goal in the league, and this is 166th appearance, and that also is a tremendous strike rate.
Created, it just made it over the line, but it has been South Melbourne's second half, and one feels that this goal could well put it beyond Olympic. They just haven't had it together at all in the second half, and South Melbourne deservedly ahead 2-1.
There's a nice view of it from here. Trivoli, great control, and slotting it past. Nick Gosling, 2-1 the score. South Melbourne looking good. That also won't count at all. The signalled on that sideline closest to us that it was a throw-in. We're looking at that replay of Seals, but the ball was out on this side. Lee. Getting inside from Milosevic. Waratifi scored the equaliser for his team. 51st minute. Now Ironside on for Aaron Bassett. Trying to get it through for Seal. Right there again, just sliding it across to Hasler. Butsianis. He got there ahead of Dacos, but couldn't get it around him. And now Barrett. This Olympic defence has been under intense pressure in this second half. Hasler aiming for a Waratifi. Bernal found Lee. Muscat and Aaron Basic, and the referee pulling up play against Latko Aaron Basic. Two of the young Socceroos benching today. Muscat coming on, of course, in the second half, and Peter Tsakenis on the bench for Sydney Olympic. They'd be pretty weary men after the 4-match series against Brazil. As Muscat gets up there. Tassios. The Tiger in Lee. Can't win this time. Muscat. Intelligent play. Trimboli. Muscat and Bernal. Muscat had committed the infringement on Andrew Bernal. The linesman signalled straight away. Jerry Connolly, the senior linesman here. And no doubt Kevin Muscat might have had a few words to say there, but while that's going on, there is some concern there for Andrew Bernal.
A big year ahead for Kevin, of course, Andy, with the World Youth Championship. Just feel, let's see, have a look at this again. There's just a slight touch there. And another one. But I think that's a fault in Kevin's play. Look, at 17 years of age, he was one of the outstanding performers in the World Youth Championship in Portugal. He's the captain now for the next one. He has a huge responsibility. He's a tremendous player, most experienced. I just feel he's giving away unnecessary fouls like that one. Now, the import of all that is that come World Youth Championship and you start picking up a yellow, then you get another one virtually for nothing, that you're going to miss the important games. And I think that's an aspect that Kevin's just got to knock out of his game and can achieve his real potential, which is one of our outstanding young talents. Certainly a big role for the World Youth Australia Championship. His composure and his experience in the back is invaluable to the Australian team.
Soros got in there again, but his clearance went straight to Danny Wright. Spiridakos, good angled header because Trimboli and Peterson were ahead of him. But the fight for first team places in these two sides is very intense. I mentioned earlier that you've got players like Jurakovic, Postecoglou, Mikhail McLaren, and of course Catholis, Cardozo.
It's one reason many rate South Melbourne as the one for the title. Not just the 11 they put on the field, but they have the depth which few other clubs have. Without that depth in a long season, the injuries come, the suspensions, you're not going to make it. Most coaches you speak to, Andy, will say South Melbourne's the team to beat for them.
South Melbourne has certainly shown a dramatic recovery, particularly in the second half. And Gosling with that back pass rule getting it away. South Melbourne had only won one of their first 4 games. Seal.
Olympics' problem, Andy, not just in the second half, but in the first half as well, is that the likes of Seal and Aaron Bassick in front really haven't had the service. Potentially it's their first game together, one must add, but potentially Seal and Aaron Bassick, one of the best striking duos in the country, but there has been no link between them and the rest of their teammates this evening. You can give credit for that to the South Melbourne midfield, but you also must be critical that Sydney Olympics midfield really haven't been able to stamp any sort of authority, and certainly not being able to provide the opportunities for Seal and Aaron Bassick in front.
Peterson wins the free kick. The referee wants it back about 3 metres. There's just on 20 minutes of normal time left. South Melbourne are up by 2-1. Peterson. A miscued pass, although Warativi comes across. Muscat. Now Tassios. And he's done well to get the ball in. And there was Bernal. Now Peterson lines it up. Stopped by Trimboli. And a great save by Gosling. Sydney Olympic thought there was an offside on there. And the linesman didn't put his flag up. And there was the chance to make it 3.
Yeah, well, I don't think he was offside, Andy, but the defenders do that quite often when they're caught out, and they are caught out here. They've got 3 South Melbourne players free, including Trimboli. Defenders appealed for the offside. It certainly wasn't offside, and Olympic lucky to get out of that. Good save from Gosling.
It's been a big week for both clubs off the field. Olympic opened up their sporting club at Helston Park in Sydney, and South Melbourne have received a grant from the government to do the same. Now Tassios. Warativi picked his spot, and just not enough power really to threaten Gosling. But South Melbourne well and truly on top.
And Warativi playing a big role in that. He's here, there and everywhere, reveling in the conditions. This header, while a fair distance out, you can see his reaction to it. He probably should have done better with it. Hitting it downwards, once you head the ball downwards, it's much more difficult for the keeper, particularly in these conditions. Hitting it in the air as he did made it quite a simple task for Gosling to save.
Blindside. We haven't seen through that midfield as Paul Wade comes across in the Lightning. We had everything here, but a change to be made. Robert Ironside. So it hasn't really been the same Ironside we've come to expect. Ironside will go off. He copped a bit of a knock last week. He needed stitches to a wound to his forehead. He had those taken out. Now Ironside comes off. The young Socceroo Peter Tsakinis comes on. So both teams have brought on their substitutes.
Peter Tsakinis still a little bit down in the dumps, Andy. Saw him before the game, still about that penalty the other night, hit the post, and just saying to him, well, the really great players of world football have all missed them on big occasions. Remember the '86 World Cup where the likes of Zico and Platini missing. And hit the post. There's very, very little in it, but he's such a good player, such a good talent. We'll put it all down to experience. And now he's got a role to play here because, as we were just mentioning earlier, Olympic really outplayed in midfield. It's up to the likes of Tsakenis to put it right now if Olympic are to get back in the game. But I think it's fair to say that it has been South Melbourne's second half. They've adapted to the conditions a lot better, taken the game to Olympic and had Olympic on the back foot for this almost 30 minutes of the second half.
Yes, it's just about 30 minutes up on my watch here. 2-1 South Melbourne. And a victory here will keep them in third place. At the moment, with Parramatta's victory early today, they're on 23 points. 3 clear of South Melbourne. They're level with West Adelaide on 23 and, of course, Marconi leaders on 24. Ball was out as Milosevic tried his very best to keep it in. It's a Kenneth. That came off Paul Trimboli. George Soros back in favour in this Olympic setup. He's played the last 2 games. Tassios got in there ahead of Tsakenis. And again another stoppage. Has given Muscat a signal. He wants it deep. It goes straight to Phillips, and he's given it back to Peterson. Tassios. Waratiki's offside. The Olympic defence moved out quickly. And up there again, Danny Wright. Phillips has seen a lot of the ball in the second half. Butsianis moments ago threatened that Olympic goal as he chased the through ball. Bernal has brought down a Warratiki for the referee, allows play to continue. Hasler inside looking for Trimboli. And again the opportunity for Paul Trimboli. A much tougher one this time around though.
Just got away from him a little bit, Andy. What a good ball from Hasler.
We've just been told, as we watch that replay, Sydney CSC have defeated Wollongong by 1-0. So Sydney CSC move up to 22 points. They go above Wollongong City and South Melbourne. Of course, that depends on how it develops here. Of course, South Melbourne leading 2-1 and looked well in control as Wade goes long again for Butsianis. It's away by Barrett. Trimboli again, straight to Spiridakos. Blair with plenty of time. Phillips straight back to Blair. And again Butsianis. Will he keep it in? No. It didn't hold up in the wet. I thought he had the right idea, knocking it as far forward as he could. But Con Butsianis
been very effective second half, Andy. It's the other aspect of South Melbourne's game. They've used the flanks a lot better. The theory is that there's less water on the flanks, if there's such a thing in these conditions, but relatively less. In the middle tends to get bogged down, and Olympic, South Melbourne I should say, have exploited both the left flank through Butsianis and this right flank much better than Sydney Olympic have done.
Well, Sydney Olympic are really against it now. Time is running against them. We've had 33.5 minutes in the second half. Cyrus was hoping for Milosevic, cut out by Muscat, and a miscue by George Soros. And you remember him
Very well, Andy. The last time I saw George play was before 127,000 fans at the Estadio de Luz when Australia lost 1-0 in the World Youth Championship to Portugal. He played up front then, and he's a case of another forward making it as a defender. I think once you've played in front, it's relatively easier to drop back. You have the discipline, concentration.
And does Peterson have the concentration? He does! 3-1 South Melbourne. What a resurgence in the second half. They've created the chances, they've done all the running, and that really is the ball game.
Deservedly so, Andy. The marking of Olympic at the back has been quite atrocious. You saw there Peterson running in from deep, getting free. There's just no one around at all. Clint Gosling must be wondering what sort of defence he's got in front of him. And Peterson, almost free, just whacks it away. And there have been many things wrong with Olympics game tonight. One of them certainly has been the concentration and marking at the back.
Well, for Peterson, he doesn't score that many goals, but that one's a sweet one for him. That's his 18th. And today, he's playing his 196th game. So much experience in the South Melbourne team. Now Milosevic, the off-season signing. Rights up there, Aaron Bassett with the overhead, screwing it wide, and that'll go out for a goal kick.
I think that's the first time we've seen Zlatko touch the ball in the second half. Stand to be corrected on that, but it does illustrate the point that Aaron Bassett and Seal in front really have had no supply at all. And irrespective of the quality of the players you play in front, and Aaron Bassett and Seal are quality, if you don't get the service, you may as well come and sit with us.
But it's drier up here.
Well, surprisingly, normally, thankfully, we're not at Middle Park, Andy. We've sat in the rain many occasions. At least it's dry here tonight. But should South Melbourne finish the game with this scoreline, they'll move into second place on goal difference, just a point behind Marconi. West Adelaide also on 23 points. Wood drop to third on goal difference. Sydney CSC on 22, giving that 5 quite a break.
That was smart play by Konbutsianis, the dummy. And, ooh, jeez. And Hasler, you'll need a bit more than that to keep him sidelined. The referee will play the free kick on that far side, and Gary Hasler was really pumped up before the game. He's so desperate to get back into the first 11 here. And it's a free kick on that far side. Hasler and Barrett, a blatant push. And South Melbourne have been singing in the rain here. They're up by 3-1. The earlier game in this doubleheader saw Preston defeat Brisbane by 5-1. Don't forget, you can see extended highlights of that game tomorrow in the replay at 4:30. That's half an hour early in Adelaide, of course. Gosling away. Sekenis was up. The numbers are there again for South Melbourne. Milosevic, he won't get across to that one. Real tough day for the ball players out there in both teams. Much opportunities to display there. More qualities. The flag's up for offside. It must have been against the Waratifi. I don't think it was Trimboli. Looks like it was against Trimboli. Looks like, is it a free kick? No, it's a throw-in for Olympic. It must have taken a touch. I thought he was pulling up for what appeared to be a foul on Aaron Bassett. The man who broke the deadlock in the 41st minute. Milosevic. And Soros. Again miscuing as Trimboli chased him down. Phillips has got it across. He was looking for Lee. And Hasler again. Butsianis is onside. Butsianis, he should go for goal. There's no other option at the moment for him. There he is. Butsianis, will it be 6th? Gosling got down there. He's already scored 5 goals this season. He used to be called the super sub. That's long gone out of the window. But the chances keep coming for South Melbourne. Neil was right again. Next week, that game between Sydney Olympic and Preston has been switched to a Sunday. That's on at St George Stadium.
And Olympic will have their hands full, Andy, on what we saw from Preston earlier tonight, really giving a hiding to Brisbane 5-1 and doing it with great style. Oscar Trino starting to get results consistently for Preston, moving them almost off the bottom of the table. Had they not had that 4-point suspension, they'd be well off the bottom, but on 6 points now, just a point behind Brisbane.
And just quickly on those round 13 fixtures, Brisbane are at home to Newcastle on the Saturday, and Sunday Adelaide play Marconi. Heidelberg are at home on Monday to Parramatta. Melbourne CC also at home to Morwell. Olympic play Preston on the Sunday. And South Melbourne travel away to Wollongong on Monday, and West Adelaide entertain Sydney CSC. So those top teams have really consolidated their positions. Although West Adelaide, who are leading the league, lost away to Marconi.
Paul Wade enjoyed himself tonight. Andy at the back. I think it's like a picnic for him playing there after being in the engine room in midfield where you're up and down all day. Just at the back, used his experience, distribution first class. I think he'd be ready, knowing the amount he puts into every game. I think after tonight he'd be ready to play again. Been quite a party for him at the back.
Well, there's some real headaches there now, isn't there, for Jim Pergolios in terms of team selection?
Well, Jurakovic coming back. And Jurakovic, such a great sweeper. He'd obviously come back into the sweeping role and Wade back to his normal midfield position. That would be a normal change for them.
Less than 5 minutes left here, John. It's 3-1 to South Melbourne. They were down by a goal at half-time, and in all fairness, really, they should have had a couple in that first half. As Trimble, he finds Gary Hasler. Squeezing it off to Butsianis. The flag's up there.
Well, from here, from here, it certainly didn't appear as though he was offside.
And Butsianis gets a yellow too.
For kicking the ball away, but I think we make the point that the linesman is in a much better position. He's level with the play. From this angle, he's certainly appeared on. He's been more prominent in the second half, and one of the reasons for that is that Hasler, who also coming in there on the second half, has been able to give him such a good supply of the ball and give it to him early.
23 goals have been scored in the results that we have been given so far, and throw in 4 here today, and goal scoring has really picked up the last 2 rounds, and we have a situation where the trend in goal scoring has picked up. We're up 5% on last season's figures, and that'll continue to climb. We'll pick up this round 12 of the Coca-Cola Soccer League. Muscat and Aaron Basic. Aaron Basic wins out. Sekenis. And now Phillips. Playing it long away by Blair. And Butsianis again on this left side. Has really caused them some headaches. The ball inside, just too much on it for Awaratifi. There would be some tired legs there for Awaratifi. A lot of running today.
A tremendous second half. Butsianis, Awaratifi in particular for South Melbourne. But few can argue with the final scoreline. It's been South Melbourne's game almost since the injury to Gosling just before half-time. They dominated the second half. They've adapted to the conditions and just given really another sign as if it was needed. And either they are going to be one of the teams to beat in this season's championship.
We've seen Sydney Olympic on a couple of occasions this year. They've certainly got the experience and talent in that squad, but it's just not clicking for them.
Well, the problem is this is the first game that they've played what Peter Askopoulos, their coach, would consider his best lineup. And the teamwork hasn't been there. A warning for Esco as we speak of him. But teams need time. You just don't build them overnight. And the fact that this is their first outing with his best 11, I think it's going to be some time yet before we see the best of Olympic.
And in comes that free kick. It's a real lottery there. Spiridakos went for it. Now Milosevic. And again the opportunity, but this time at the other end for Sydney Olympic to salvage something out of this game. There's just on a minute of normal time left. You see there, Spiridakos went for it, Milosevic, the number 8. And you've got to commend Paul Wade for his commitment in defence. And Anastasiadis, it's his defence organised. 30 seconds of normal time left. In it comes. That was a Waitifi. Grant Lee chasing. Put it inside Hasler. Plenty of numbers covering. So South Melbourne on their way to their 7th win in this Coca-Cola Soccer League. Lee, number 12, who came on in this second half. Phillips now. Bernal. Right idea, just direction was off. And Spiridakos, who's been down for about a minute, back on his feet. He spent a season at Perikos in Greece. He couldn't speak more highly of Lucas Nadulu. He sees him as the best talent in Greece, not just from the Aussies abroad, but of all players there. It looks all right. So we're playing stoppages at the moment. And there it is. That's in fact the final whistle for this game. South Melbourne coming back in this second half. They trailed by 1-0. They certainly deserve the 3 points here today. Homework for Sydney Olympic. They've got a lot of work to do. And with Morwell winning, they're just 1 point behind Olympic. South Melbourne moved to 23 points. They're joined with West Adelaide and Parramatta, with Marconi leading the competition by 24 points now. So Marconi on 24 points. That's so tight at the top. 12 rounds of the Coca-Cola Soccer League as the South Melbourne team go across to salute their faithful supporters here at Olympic Park. The second of the doubleheader in round 12 of the Coca-Cola Soccer League. You see Gary Hasler gets them worked up on that far side. Disappointment on the faces of all these Sydney Olympic players. But a great day for them, really. South Melbourne, who started the season slowly, have certainly found their mark in recent weeks. They've got a tough one away from home next week at Brandon Park against Wollongong City. Dean Anastasiadis couldn't really fault him for that goal. His defence left him open. But a great revival in the second half from South Melbourne.